Well, good evening, everybody. I was hoping to give it a few more minutes to let people join, but no doubt people will start joining as we go. I'm Jennie Joseph, and I'm thankful and grateful to have this opportunity to share this evening to talk about what's going on at Common Sense Childbirth Institute and the Common Sense Childbirth School of Midwifery. Thank you again for joining. Just so you know, because it's such a short time frame that we have, and we have so many people on board and getting on board, that we won't have time to actually speak with each other, but we'll be doing a short presentation and then we'll be moving to Q&A, and the Q&A will be through the chat. So please remain on mute, and we are trying to kind of cover a lot of information without stopping and starting as far as introductions, etc. So please bear with us as we try to get this information out. But we want a robust chat session. We want to hear from you. We want to answer your questions. We want to make sure everybody's doing okay. All right, so let's go. So again, thank you so much for joining. I am quite moved and overwhelmed, and I'm sure you all can understand, you know, I think what's happening now with our school and with this movement is just an amazing opportunity for us to move midwifery forward in the United States. And I'm very pleased to be able to do that. So, hold on, please. My slides are running away from me already. We haven't even started. Okay, bear with me while I get my slides. Yes, okay. So I wanted to start with this picture. Many of the women in this picture on this call as well, and I want to just first of all just have us all stop and maybe just drink this in for a moment. This picture was taken at the Black Mamas Matter conference in Atlanta, Georgia a couple of years ago, and it was an opportunity to celebrate anything and everything perinatal health. It was a wonderful opportunity for us all to be together. You see in the front there some of the midwifery elders, and there's some of them here with us tonight, and I'd like to acknowledge them just as we go, so that you guys can see who we are, and just make sure. So if you are an elder and you have your video, please turn it on. I'm just going to highlight names as I go down my list here. So bear with me again. So Charlotte Shiloh Goodrow, if you can keep your video on, and that way that folk can see you. Mama Charlotte, are you able to put your video? Okay, if you can, that would be great. If not, don't worry. Deborah Lewis from Trinidad is on the call. Deborah, let's see if we can highlight these. I'm not sure how to highlight these videos actually, but make sure your video's on if I call your name. Mama Magda Kamara, Virgin Islands right now. She's there on the video screen. You guys may have to scroll up and down to find your favorite elders. Mama Nasra, Georgia. Nyasha Bonner, Saran Henderson, Sheila Sims Watson. I may be missing any of you, and I apologize if I am. We have Vanessa Caldari from the Southwest Tech College in Wisconsin. As I see more, I'll point them out. What you see on your screen is information about the Council of Midwifery Elders, of which many of these women I just called out are members. We founded this Council of Midwifery Elders last year as an opportunity to work together. And you might remember that this is actually, the 2020 is the year of the International Year of the Nurse and the Midwife. It seems since COVID pandemic showed up, we've kind of forgotten these kinds of things, but this is still the International Year of the Nurse and Midwife. The Council of Midwifery Elders embraces the legacy of the Grand Midwives of African descent who served the United States for decades, as we join with the World Health Organization recognition of 2020 as the International Year of the Nurse and Midwife. We give thanks and honor to nurses and midwives all over the world for the safe care, protective support, and compassionate service that they continue to provide for the childbearing women and families in their charge. Some of you will recognize the amazing midwife and nurse midwife, Maud Callan, in this picture. There are many pictures of her work. She was captured in a photo essay and was nationally renowned for her work in the South, as were many of the grand midwives of the South. Maud Callan is here in a church hall. It seems that she set up a mobile clinic, and you can see her doing her work and serving community. These are the ancestors, these are the women, these are the people on whose shoulders we stand. So we want to really honor them as we move forward with what now has become a Meac accredited midwifery training program at the Common Sense Childbirth School of Midwifery. The program has been running since 2009 at this current iteration, and it has been a Florida licensed school since 2010. But the Meac accreditation was just achieved, and obviously those of you on this call know what that means and why that's so important. What it's also done is opened up an opportunity for us at the school to be able to advance into the field of diversifying and bringing on board the women and people that are interested in midwifery to serve communities. We're all about the community midwife. So let me just read this mission. The mission of the Common Sense Childbirth School of Midwifery is to provide quality, practical, and culturally sensitive midwifery training and education that will prepare midwives of caliber who can represent themselves and their profession in any arena. We aim to inspire our students to become perinatal leaders in the maternal child health field, willing to provide access to respectful maternity care for all communities with an emphasis on eliminating health disparities through the education and empowerment of women and families so that they can once again safely experience their birth their way. We envision a maternity care climate saturated with culturally sensitive and racially congruent care that results in equitable and superior outcomes in maternal and infant health for all populations. We seek to reach as many as we can because there is no time to lose. We are in the business of saving lives. In order to achieve our vision, we seek to open a pathway for midwives of color to again become autonomous community providers, to address and redress the historical, structural, and institutional inequities that continue to decimate Black and Indigenous people, and to restore trusted birth workers to the heart of their communities once again. Before I pass over to my colleagues who are here to help us with the presentation tonight, I want to mention and honor Mama Claudia Booker, a friend to all of us, a leader, a mentor, a fierce fighter for what we stand for. We lost Mama Claudia in February of this year, but her legacy will live on. And I also want to ask us to pause tonight to think about these young women, these vibrant women, these mothers that are being lost because they're in America. Because what we are accepting and standing for in America, which is unacceptable. And a couple of days ago, Yolanda Shipra Kadima, who is a known friend and supporter, doula and mother of 7, was lost in Georgia. Shaisha was lost a couple of weeks ago in New York. Amber Rose, New York. Kira Johnson, California. Shaylon Irving, she was also from Georgia. Too many, and too many near misses. Let's just take a moment of silence to think about these women, their families, their friends, their communities, and the loss that is happening right in plain sight in the United States of America. Thank you. So I'm going to hand over now to our administrative director and a wonderful person that has helped our school to grow and to be able to make this spectacular achievement of becoming Meac accredited. Tara Dallas has been working with us for over a year now and has transformed the midwifery school and the midwifery program. And she's going to outline for you, for those of you that are interested in our school, more about our program. Okay, Tara.
Thank you, Jenny. I'm so glad to be here tonight and to be able to share with you all a little bit about our school. I first wanted to start out with just giving a brief description of the school so that you can understand how we work. Our classes are held one day a week. Right now that's on Fridays, and the classes are in person, which means that we are a school for people currently residing in the state of Florida. We have been completely overwhelmed with the outpouring of love and support from across the nation, and we'll be talking a little bit later in the presentation about our hopes to expand in the future. But for right now, we are a school for those residing in Florida, and our classes will be in person, and we will have lab workshops as well once a semester. So 2 days where you get to practice all of those hands-on skills in a classroom with a midwife and learn your craft before going out into your externship and practicing it there. We believe in a program that has externships and your academic classes happening simultaneously. So every semester you'll be enrolled in an externship class. This requires that you attend about 10 to 15 hours a week minimum as part of a midwifery practice. This can be clinic and births, and it is required that you do these with a licensed midwife in the state of Florida who's registered with CCSM and NARM in order to count towards the program. And the schedule fluctuates for each student depending on the needs of the clinic. So you would set that up with your preceptor, and the schedule would depend on how their clinic is run. The last aspect of the program is your independent study and assignments, the coursework that you have to do outside of the time that you're in class or your externship. And we expect students to spend about 20 to 25 hours a week on their independent study, reading, assignments while you're here. So if you kind of look over all of that time, you'll notice that that's about 40 to 50 hours a week that you'll be spending on this program, which means it is a full-time program. And we expect students to, dedicate their full time and attention to the program. Our tuition is $27,000. Plus fees for books and supplies, as well as an application fee. And we're hoping, we will be starting our next program in September of 2021. I am going to walk you through on the next slide the process of how to apply for our school. So these are the 7 steps to the application process. Prior to applying, we do have you complete a list of prerequisites that are intended to prepare you to be a midwife. Some of these are to prepare you for what college life is like and going to a school with intense studies like this midwifery school has. And some of them are also to get your feet wet in the birth world and get you out there at births, experiencing them and making sure this is really the field that you want to be in. So the first step is this set of prerequisites that are required prior to application. That includes 3 college credits in math and English, a 2-semester anatomy and physiology series at a local community college. We also will be offering this course starting in January at our school, so you could take that with us as well. Kendra, who's hosting the chat today and answering your questions for you all, is going to be the instructor for that course. And then we also require that you go to a doula training, a lactation educator training, and a childbirth educator training before applying to the school, and taking an HIV/AIDS course, which is required by the state of Florida. So those are all the ones that you need before you apply. The next set are ones that we allow you a little bit more time to complete. So they have to be completed within the first year of your studies, but are still like extracurricular learning. And that's to take your doula, lactation, and childbirth education credentials to the next level and become certified in those. And then we also need you to become certified in NRP and CPR so that you can be the best assistant at births as possible while you're observing with local midwives. So the next step would then be the application period, and our open enrollment starts in March of 2021. Open enrollment means that students are evaluated in their applications on a first come, first served basis. And so that's why I do have that second set of prerequisites before the application process in this timeline, because the more of the prerequisites you have completed, the better chances you have of getting into the program. Our open enrollment closes in August 20th of 2021, so it is a good amount of time that we have it open, and that gives you time to get your application in and do all of these things below, which includes some personal essays, a paper, providing us with proof of your prerequisites, and getting some references together. And that just allows us to evaluate the applications and get you ready for enrollment. When our spots fill up, enrollment could close early, so just be aware of that. We have 12 spots for our in-person cohort, and we are in the process right now of applying with the state and also with Meac to get an online distance program going. We're very hopeful that we'll have that in the fall of 2021 as well, and that would be opened up to an additional 18 students, which would get us to 30 total coming to the school in that fall. And the same prerequisites would apply to that program for online as they would for in-person. So you do want to be working on those even if you are wanting to join our online program, because they'll be the same. Thank you, Jenny.
All right.
Go back, yeah. And so once you submit your application, if we find that you meet the requirements for the school, the next two steps are getting a physical exam, and that's just to make sure that you are physically able to perform the duties of being a midwife. You would just get a normal physical from your primary care provider, and then we have a separate little form that they would fill out to just to make sure that they're looking over the things that would help us know if you're able to be a midwife. And then the second step is to do an interview with our admissions staff, so that it can either be a in-person or a video conference interview where we just ask you some questions that help us evaluate your readiness for the program by talking about your educational and your career goals and how you've set up your personal life to help you succeed. And then if the interview goes well and your physical exam comes back in your favor, then the next step would be acceptance. At the time of acceptance, we'll send you an enrollment agreement, and part of that enrollment agreement is to pay a deposit of $1,500. This money will be applied to your last semester's or last month's tuition. And it's kind of like, you know, when you get an apartment, you pay your first and last. That's what we're doing here in the program, and it's to hold your spot and before you attend school. And that can be done anytime during that time frame of March of 2021 to August 20th of 2021. And then at the end of August, on August 27th, we would have a half-day orientation to get you all used to the school, talk about our expectations, answer any questions you might have about getting started. And then the first day of classes would start on September 3rd of 2021. So that's the application process that we would have you all walking through. And you can go to the next, Jenny, that's fine. Oh, Jenny, can you go back a second? Yeah, and then just hit that. Yeah, thank you. That's it. So I did mention some of our future plans as we were going through that application process. And so I know that a lot of people are very interested in getting started right away. And one of the ways that we encourage you to do that is through all those prerequisites that we mentioned. But we also are going to be doing some expanded offerings through the Institute. And these are
I just love washing dishes.
ahead of time, and they would apply towards your program out of school. While this won't reduce the amount of time that you're in our program, it can get you started and make your first semester a little bit slower.
That's what that is.
Panelists, if you don't mind checking to make sure you're muted, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. And some of these courses are going to be the courses that are offered in the first semester of our program, and that's including the recently launched community health worker course that we have online with Kendra and Tennille. There are two people who are helping host that course. And then we are going to be also bringing on soon our perinatal medical assistant program, which is just those basic healthcare skills that you would need to be a great assistant at any birth. And also doing some mentorship opportunities for preceptors so that they can learn about how our program works. So if you have a preceptor in mind and you want to get them oriented to our program and aligned with us before you start, that would be a great way to do that. So you can look forward to those offerings coming, and those can be something that you can use to get a jump start on the program and kind of space out, you know, the costs in the beginning. I did want to mention that for funding right now, we are a private school and we do not have participation in Title IV or the federal financial aid FAFSA programs, but we are expanding current scholarship opportunities, and that we've just recently started, and we're looking for funding for that. So we're hoping to be able to provide scholarships by the fall of 2021. And we also are working on some partnerships with people like Vanessa, who is one of our panelists here tonight, with Southwest Technical College, to have a stronger relationship. We've been working with them for 10 years now on an externship program that allows students from their school to get experience with us. But we're going to be building a stronger relationship between those two schools to have a direct connection and alignment with classes, so that students who do need help with funding through things like, you know, financial aid, student loans, will be able to do their first 2 years hopefully with that program, and then connect to us directly. So if you are interested in any of that, those expanded offerings, or learning about these partnerships that we're doing, I really recommend that you check out our website, savinglives.biz, and you can sign up for our interested student mailing list while you're there, and you will be getting emails about any of those updates. Vanessa, do you have anything that you want to add about our partnership or the programs that we're going to be working on?
Thank you, Tara and Jenny, for having me here. I'm actually in Puerto Rico, so I am so honored to be close to all of you, and also helping in the Wisconsin area, which I think that is also very important. Yes, I'm very excited I'm the program director of the program, the midwifery program at Southwest Tech. And I've always honored and have been so proud of the work that Jenny does and Common Sense. So I'm very excited to keep these collaborations and help them grow. So what we are hoping for is kind of to do that collaborative offering, that the students that need support with financial aid, they could come through and do the first basic 2 years with us, with having Common Sense be a very integral part of what we offer. And then because Florida, you need 3 years and more credits, you would go on and finish your last year with them, but you would be doing clinicals in Florida as well. So that is our vision, and to keep working together, offering a lot for our communities that need this support and deserve it. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, this is where we are going to open it up for questions.
One quick second, I want to just jump in here before we do go to the full questions, and just to tie in the relationship for Common Sense Childbirth Institute which you'll find at the savinglives.biz website. So that is our institute where we have all of the perinatal programs, as well as the fact that the midwifery school is under the institute. So do keep in mind there's a synergy between both parts, but they are both set to do this one thing, saving lives. We will be posting as we go and getting more information out to you. But what we're looking for is creating access to this education. And so we will be open to customizing and crafting the individual student's pathway to get from one side to the other. So there's a synergy between both sites. Savinglives.biz is where you get your prereqs, where you get your perinatal types of trainings, your opportunities to learn around midwifery in support of getting to midwifery, such as a pipeline towards midwifery. And the midwifery school program is, of course, to get you into the direct entry approach to midwifery. So you don't need a nursing degree. You don't need any other types of medical. You go directly into midwifery, and the outcome will be that you are eligible to be, if your state is a state where you can be licensed, or if you need a CPM, or if you are a direct entry midwife, if you are a community midwife. At the end of the day, you will get to have your very own pathway created to get to where you want to go according to where you are and how things work in your area, in your state. So I just wanted to make sure you see the distinction between the Common Sense Childbirth Institute, which is the housing of all things perinatal, and the Common Sense Childbirth School of Midwifery. And then lastly, before we go to questions, I want to point out about the National Perinatal Task Force, which is our grassroots and organizing arm of Common Sense Childbirth, the organization. What the National Perinatal Task Force stands for is, again, saving lives, reducing disparities, and supporting those of you, all of you, that want and need support, fellowship, mentorship, encouragement, and a place where you belong in order to get where you're going. So many of us already have perinatal safe spots up and down, wherever they may be. There are probably anywhere between 30 and 40 perinatal safe spots around the country. And the perinatal safe spot owner operators are people like yourselves. People who are already on the ground fighting the fight. People who've already said, I'm going to use my own initiative, most of the time my own money, my own energy, because I'm not going to stand by anymore and let these disparities continue. I might be working in doula practice. I might be working in lactation. I might be a registered nurse in labor and delivery. I might be a community activist. Wherever you are, if you have a passion to get to midwifery as your end goal, you can be in action right now. Don't be discouraged. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't even let the costs scare you. We will be working to find ways to get everybody and anybody who wants to get to this end result. We'll get you there. But midwifery is one pathway. There are so many others. And keep in mind, it's a moving continuum. And just like the grand midwives, we will find a way. Where there is no way, we will make a way. So I want you to get that and understand that and hold that and know that we're all going together. We will leave no one behind. Just know that we are beginning and we're working from that place where we are getting it, in place. Need to have some patience with us. It's kind of like waiting on that head to crown. You're going to have to hold on a minute. We're not rushing. We're not doing crazy. We're not doing any old wishy-washy way. We're on a for real track to get this done once and for all. So let's go with the questions. Let's see if we can answer as much as possible. I want you to finish out. We've got 30 minutes or so to do question and answer. I'm sorry again that we can't get you on the videos, but there's too many people to manage that. So please go to the chat, and Kendra, if you want to help us, we'll go from there.
Okay, Jenny, I already have a couple of questions lined up that I'll help answer for people. So some people had some questions about the fees. The application fee is a non-refundable fee, and so that is something that you would have to pay. It is not applied towards the tuition, but the enrollment fee that holds your spot in the program is non-refundable, but it also does apply to the program. So that would become out of the $27,000 towards tuition. We do offer payment plans by either the semester or monthly to help students finance their schooling. Even though we do not offer financial aid at this time, we do have those payment plans to help us. So I think that should answer most of the questions that we had about fees. Another question that we had was about being a Florida resident and the semantics of that for applying. So you do have to live in the state of Florida when you are in the program, but that doesn't necessarily mean, we don't have a requirement that you have to be a resident or that you be living in Florida when you apply. But we do think it's really important that you be aware of your community and that you are embedded in it before you start this program. So even though technically we don't have a requirement for you to be here well in advance, we would recommend that you be in this community ahead of time so you're ready to do your schooling for our in-person program. Obviously, for the online program, fingers crossed when it gets approved, that would be different. You would be in your local communities at that time. And the Florida requirement would probably not stand at that point. Let's see what else we have. We had another question about licensing versus certification. So I completely forgot to mention this, and that is my bad. So we are a program that is designed for direct entry midwives, which are licensed midwives in the state of Florida and certified professional midwives but who take the NARM exam. So it's like the national certification. So this is different from a nurse midwife or a CNM, and they have different pathway to becoming a midwife. So in the state of Florida, you are required to get your CPM, your national certification, before you can apply for licensure. There is not another exam in the state of Florida to get licensed. We use the NARM exam to become licensed. It's one of the requirements, but there's not an additional one. So that's the pathway here in Florida. Every state is different. And if you are interested in learning about the requirements for your state and if our school would meet the requirements for your state, I would ask you to reach out to me personally. My email is Tara, T-A-R-A, @commonsensemidwifery.org. I also, if you sent something in that contact us section on our website, that email comes directly to me, and I could explore that on a one-on-one basis for you. We also had some questions about the prerequisite classes and if they are in person only as well. And no, all of our prerequisite classes that we offer at our school do have virtual options. Some of them do have in-person options as well, but those will be available virtually. And we have been doing classes virtually during this COVID timeframe, but it is a limited, time-limited thing right now, and so we're working to make that a more permanent thing, but we didn't want to give everyone the impression that we're all meeting together during this time. We are meeting virtually right now, and we've learned a lot during this, and I feel very prepared to do an online program, but we have to get approvals to extend this out past this emergency time frame that is going on right now during COVID. Okay, let's see what else.
Kendra, would you maybe read a couple from the chat as we go along?
Yes, actually, I was just looking at the one about, there's a couple people wondering about prerequisites that have been taken like a number of years ago. So Tara, what is that number that we take up until how many years ago?
So 10 years is the rule that we have for like the anatomy and physiology course. All the other courses, there's no time limit on those. And with the anatomy and physiology, if you've had practical use of that course, so you're, you know, a nurse or doing some kind of healthcare job where you're using that knowledge on a daily basis, that 10-year rule is waived.
Excellent. Somebody else is asking, at this point, are we still doing like a 3-year cohort rotation, or do we believe we'll be taking a new, like, is it 2021 and then 2024, or is there hope for something in between?
Jenny, I'll let you
That's
answer
a
that one.
really great question. So those of you that know me, you're used to me. I have held the line since I've been teaching school, which is since 1995 in Florida, that no, we do one cohort at a time. We're in unprecedented times. First of all, like I said earlier, we have no time to lose. Secondly, we know that we are not about trying to dilute quality or to, you know, skirt past or hope for. So the answer is going to depend on how many strong preceptor sites that I can secure and trust and vet and be confident that you will be safe and get what you need. And depending on that number will then dictate whether or not we can have 2 cohorts running contemporaneously or close to each other. So the first cohort will be fully taken care of, and we will be sure and confident that what we are providing is going to make sure they stay covered. And then we'll look at, yes, maybe we can take another class a year later or 2 years later, or even the same year. It all depends. Sorry about this, doggy. So here's the thing to consider. If you guys help us by getting out into your communities now and, oh, for goodness sake, and figuring out that there's preceptor potentials, there are supportive practices, there are places where you can get good quality training and support, and we can engage with those people. We will be having clinician trainings as well, preceptor trainings, and we want to be, oh, I'm so sorry about this dog. That we will be able to make sure that we grow our preceptors, our teachers. Again, we will need to keep this on, you know, moving forward with bringing in the folk that we know we need to support you students. So this is the key to this school, and I believe this is what makes us stand apart. We're not trying to rack it up, bring them in, get the money and move. That's not what we're standing for. In order to save lives, in order to mitigate disparities, we have to take care of each other and ourselves. So I'm not interested in training and churning out midwives who are nervous, midwives who have no confidence, midwives who are scared. I'm looking at that when you graduate from this program, you're ready to go. You're right in the community and you are active, you are respected, you are able to hold your own as a professional, and you will not cause anybody any harm. So that's why that's such a long, convoluted answer, because it would be easy to say, yeah, we'll just keep moving a new class every year. I don't know that yet, so I can't answer that yet. But hold on, if we could work together and build our teams, I think it's possible.
Another question that I can answer quickly that some of you have asked in the chat is about doing this on top of having RN credentials and becoming a certified nurse midwife. And no, this program is specifically for direct entry midwives. So a few of you have asked that question. So Tara and Jenny, do you now want to weigh in on, other people are asking a little bit about the format of what online might look like and precepting online might look like. I think as they've said, we haven't, like, that's not all quite developed yet, but do we have ideas on what online might look like?
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. So what we are anticipating that looking like is the academic portion of the courses being online virtual in a session similar to this, except as opposed to a webinar, you would be able to chat and have your video on talking with your instructors. And then you would also have a lot of independent coursework that you would be doing outside of that face-to-face time virtually with your instructor. We would then also have students coming on site occasionally to do the lab skills in person. So there would be a little bit of travel involved to come practice that. We've also talked about having some regional sites to do those as the program develops and progresses on, and we can get preceptors in other areas trained to teach those courses as well, so people wouldn't have to travel as far. And then you would have a local externship with a local midwife who is in your community who we've built a relationship with. So we are going to be having courses for community midwives to learn about the JJ way and incorporate that into their practice. And we would hope that these preceptors would, learn through that program and then also go through an orientation with us to learn how to be a preceptor. And so you would be doing those externships locally in your community, but they would be in partnership with our school. We are still trying to figure out, there are some rules in the state of Florida that we're trying to develop and understand how they would work with our schools. So we can't fully speak to what that would look like, but basically there is a law in Florida that requires that it be a Florida licensed midwife. So that might require those midwives in the other states to become licensed with us, or finding another way around that that still works for the school. And we're researching and developing, and we'll let everyone know when we figure all that out in more detail.
I do want to mention as well that we know, especially when we have students that will be in other areas, that we'll be hosting sessions where we can just in a relaxed way have round tables. Claudia Booker often spoke about, the importance of having access to elders, and she called it sitting at the feet of my elder, to be able, the young women, young people who are going to take this path, to be able to have just dialogue, to listen, to share, to learn. And so we want to support with strong mentoring, but also student-to-student support. And so this is the joy of technology. We elders, we don't quite get it. We're trying our best. I'm still trying to figure Instagram. But, there's ways now to pull this together. Having just finished like a 4-month stint of figuring out how to do telemedicine, telehealth, here I am. I've converted a practice into a telehealth practice, and it was wretched. But on the other end, it's like, thank you, technology. So even students that are at a distance will be able to have a sense of being in fellowship and being supported while they work through the program. We have preceptors and elders who are ready to support Deborah in Trinidad, Magda in the Virgin Islands, Vanessa in Puerto Rico. We know that we will have quite a spread of geographically where our students will be. But we think that we can hold this together well, and we'll make sure that you aren't going to feel lonely, abandoned, left to figure it out, confused. So that is how we're holding this school, in that sense of community. Community midwives are being produced, so we will do that in community.
We did get some questions in the chat too about our prerequisites and what training programs we recommend. So we have a training program. We also recommend the Root Doula training as well as one of the options. We wanted to let you know that Root has been super generous with our students and have some scholarships available. And if you want more information about their program and how you can access those scholarships, you can reach out to me and I'll send you the information. But they want to help support anybody who's on their midwifery journey by doing that doula training. So that's a great resource. We do not have like a list of accepted trainings. We just want you to get the training and the experience. So pretty much any training that you could get that leads to a certification in those 3 areas would apply. And if you have a specific one that you're curious about, you can feel free to send it to me on a one-on-one basis and I can let you know, but pretty much we accept all of them.
Put the root RJ in the chat and I said .com, but it's rootrj.org.
Okay.
And we particularly encourage you to look into that program. This is a strong reproductive justice lens applied to the doula training. And we are looking at making sure that as many of the students that are looking to understand the purpose of our school and the reasoning behind our school, you'll understand that it's coming from a justice perspective. So as you choose courses and as you look at what opportunities are out there for you in the perinatal field, and that these areas are really key, think about that. Does this support birth justice? Does this support maternal justice? Does this support reproductive justice? All right, because this is a movement as well as a program, if that makes sense.
Another question in the chat is about being able to precept.
Yeah, so CNMs can precept as long as they're licensed in the state of Florida currently. And there are requirements for where births happen. So there are some hospital births required and some out of birth experiences required as well for the NARM examined and at our school. So you wouldn't be able to be solely in a hospital setting. And we really do want to emphasize community birth, but if there's a CNM practicing in the community, you could precept with them. I see a question here about the personal essays and the APA paper that are required. The 7 personal essays are really for us to get to know you and to also know what your drive and mission are. The idea behind that is to help you explore your mission and vision for your midwifery career, and kind of help explain that to us. Also have to talk about the support you're going to have. And then the APA paper, when we have that as part of the application, we are going to provide you with resources to learn about that, to know how to do it. But we have found that this is an area that our students really struggle with in the beginning. And so we wanted to get you practiced in doing that before coming to the school so that you could start doing some learning ahead of time. But we have free resources that we can share as part of the application process to help you along with that. Any other questions you're seeing, Kendra, that would be good?
Yeah, sorry, I was typing an answer to one.
Okay, yeah.
More on financial aid, and I think you guys did kind of answer that. We don't have it yet, but it is the hope for the, right?
Yeah, and that's actually one of the plans for the Southwest Technical College, is that they do provide those resources. And so as we develop this partnership even stronger than it already is, if financial aid and finances are really something that is important to you, we encourage you to look into that program, as they'll be able to help with those kinds of costs. But at this point in time, we don't have the program in place and don't really have a timeline of when that could happen.
So I do want to add the thinking that we have right now, because we are brand new Meac accredited, and we are in the process as we speak of creating the next step with Meac to be the online program that we are yearning to be. We will at the same time be applying to the state of Florida to be a Florida licensed online midwifery school as well. So we're going to depend on scholarship. And you guys, if you noticed what happened when I put my little Instagram post up and said, oh, guess what? We got the Meac. Well, I think it broke the internet because everybody responded, and I've never seen such a response ever in all the time I've been messing around with social media. And I intend to be able to put that to good use in terms of, you know, asking for support and donations. And so we will be able to build and have, you know, scholarship funding as a really robust part of a plan to support you financially. So we need to really think about that. This is an opportunity where people who are asking, well, what do we need to do? How do we support? Oh, Black Lives Matter. All of that is because there's an interest now in supporting the work. And we can really ask, you know, that we can bring those donations purposefully to invest in the future for our communities. So there are government grants coming up that are saying we want to support students, diverse students. Midwifery has been added to what was formerly just for nurses. There are all kinds of different things that are showing up that we are very excited about looking into to be able to bring financial support to our students and to ease the burden. So yes, Southwest Tech will be a really great opportunity to get started and to apply for federal funds, but we will also be working very hard to have scholarships available to you through the school. And then lastly, Mama Claudia and I, and with Vicki Penwell of Mercy in Action, created the Grand Challenge Scholarship. And Claudia's passing, many people were donating to that scholarship fund, and it does connect with the Mercy in Action Midwifery School, a sister school, a school where there is much interest in supporting this work. Vicki Penwell has been the only person really who embraced the Grand Challenge and has helped so many students of color and low-income students to get through midwifery and to graduate. And so we know that that's a model that does work, and we intend to make the best of that. So keep watching that space, keep talking to us, share, don't be, you know, afraid to come forward with if you need help. We'll start looking at ways we can use scholarship funds, for example, towards your down payment as well. Scholarship funds are towards tuition. Scholarship funds may be towards a living stipend. All of these other things that, you know, we normally don't have a way. Once again, like I said, we're gonna find a way. So be encouraged and give us time. We just got Meac accredited literally 2 weeks ago. We got the final, you know, so we are still getting rolling, but these are our intentions and these are our commitments because we want to see you succeed.
And on that note, I have had some people asking us, you know, what our success rate with our past students are. And so I do want to toot our own horn for a second here and say that our retention rate for our last 2 cohorts, it was 88%. And our exam pass rate for those who graduated was 100%. And so we have a very strong legacy of people who complete this program, get into work and being midwives. And I think that's one of the reasons why we are wanting to go slow, is because we want to maintain that and we want to give you all the quality education that we've been giving to our students for the last 10 years. So I want to thank everyone for their patience as we learn and grow while maintaining this level of quality, because that's super important to us.
Absolutely. The story of this school, as you all know, it's been a slow and long and winding road. It literally took me and the team at Common Sense 5 years to get Meac accredited. It wasn't a thing that we could just throw together and have it be just, oh, we're finished. And as miserable as it was, and as painful as it was, and as overwhelming as it was, I am so glad we went through it, because now we have the template. So what we achieved before we had Meac is one thing, but what we now have with the level of organization and the policies, procedures, everything that's, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. And if you think about it, accreditation is always at the benefit of the student. And that's why we persevered. That's why we pushed through. That's why I did what, I wanted this, because I felt like this way we would know that we would not be taking advantage of anyone. We would not be half doing anything. We would not be responsible for people having, being disappointed or feeling not well taken care of. So Meac gives us a structure now to be clear that we are building on this legacy and we are ready to scale. And I don't want to go so fast that it all falls apart, and you don't want me to either. So know that we will be very diligent in keeping ourselves and our school accredited, recognized, reliable, I hope renowned, and that we will hold that line, because we cannot do anything less than that, given the legacy and the shoulders on whom we stand. We cannot let these grand midwives down. We cannot mess it up and then retreat. This is it. As of now, we are moving forward. So time-wise, how are we doing? Yes, we've got a minute. I would like to wrap up here, but know that you continue to ask questions, you continue to raise any issues or concerns. Come through Tara at the tara@commonsensemidwifery.org email address. The websites will be where you can sign up to be on the mailing list, get more information about current courses, but be in communication, please. We will be sending out a survey soon. We want to find out what are the barriers for midwives, student midwives? What are the reasons that you've had a hard time? I saw someone put in the chat, 20 years she's been waiting. We want to understand more. We want to get that out there so we can share that these barriers need to be broken down right now. We need midwives in America, and we need particularly midwives of color, midwives who will serve marginalized communities, but also midwives who will thrive and sustain and be there. Okay? So before we go, I want us to enjoy and watch a short video. I love this video in terms of the message it gives me. It was a tribute to John Lewis, and it was something I watched a couple years ago, but I think it's pertinent now. So before we go, I want to say thank you to everybody that came on board. And if you hold on, we'll run this video and we'll say good night. Thank you all. Hang on.
Hit the play in the middle of it, Jenny.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Jenny, this sound's not playing. I would maybe stop share. Oh, there you go. And then when you go to reshare again, make sure that you select the optimize for video and sound.
And asked why, but oh no, I'm not tired. I'm not through marching yet, and I'm marching till I die. Oh children, this you can bet. So we say, I'm gonna sing out, and I'm gonna march on. And everybody said, I'm gonna sing out, gonna march on, I'm gonna march on. Gonna put one foot in front of the other foot, yes I am. I'm gonna sing out, gonna march on, I'm gonna march on. I got to keep on keeping on, yes I am. Gonna march on, I'm gonna march on. Oh well, my grandmama marched and my granddaddy too, and I never thought it'd be something that I have to do, but I'll march if I must. I got a mission, you see, and I'll be damned if my children have to march for me. Now I believe in the power of raising my voice, and I believe in the power of making some noise. Now if I die, I can't sing, and if I can't sing, I'll die. So we should sing for one another. Now let's give it a try. So we say, I'm gonna sing out. Oh, I got to keep on keeping on, keep on marching on.
An extraordinary honor for both the students and John Lewis himself. What a beautiful, beautiful tribute to him.